I'm a baby. My name is Fox. I like to throw up on woolen clothes.
You could have said socks. It would have rhymed.
I got the lip quiver. Now my baby.
Okay, fair enough. So, it's not funny. I'm just kidding. It's funny. It's funny. Okay. So I travel away for seminars.
Boop boop.
And
Boop boop.
it's upwards of 4 days, Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at a time. And I'm curious, for your perspective, what is the most difficult thing about me being away? Like, what is the, if you think back on the times that I'm not here, what is it that makes it the hardest? Or is it easier when I'm away?
Well, it's easier to keep the house clean, I don't know why, but I feel like it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, there's a few things that, like I said to you this morning, like when you're back, I'm like, when I have full responsibility of everything, I'm just way more onto it. Like I'm
Right.
way more like, okay, we've got to do this, this, and this. I don't say that out loud, but I'm just more, the responsibility seems to heighten my need to get things done and make sure the kids don't die.
Right.
You know, so that part,
Which almost happened twice.
which did almost happen twice.
While I was gone.
But
I leave for a little bit. She almost kills Arrow twice.
That had nothing
Just-
to do with you.
It was, he ran in the road.
twice. He
Twice.
did, and I had to grab him twice.
She had to grab him. So.
I think the hardest thing is for Arrow right now because he's in that age, like 3. He still needs a lot of attention.
Right.
And when you're not here, I'm holding the baby a lot. Whereas when you're here, we trade off a lot, so it's much easier to give him the attention he needs. And he's pretty good. Like if I say I can't right now, like he doesn't cry or anything. He'll just keep demanding it, but it doesn't ever turn into like him getting really upset. It just makes it really hard on me because he's like, Mom, I want you. Mom, I need you. Mom, I want that. Mom, can we do this? Mom. And he's saying Mum because he has a New Zealand accent.
He does. There's like 12 words and they're all Kiwi words.
So that's probably the hardest. And then not having your like male presence here is hard for the boys, I think. Like they don't say it, or I don't think they even recognize it, but I can see it. Like if I don't make time to physically wrestle them on the ground,
Right.
Which is hard because if he's sleeping, it's like, oh, the house is to be quiet, and when he's not asleep, I'm usually
Holding him.
or like trying to get something done. So if I don't make time to be physical with them, and not just like running outside playing, like they have to have like a good little wrestle session in.
Right.
I think they kind of crave it and they need it. Like on the last day, they were just at each other because they needed it. Yes, you don't need to wrestle. Maybe you won't wrestle. Maybe you'll just be.
He's already wrestling me. You see him? He's taking me down. He's taking me down. Okay, fair enough.
But it's not actually as hard as, I don't know. I feel like the third kid, you're just like, your expectations are lower and you kind of just know it's going to be like a hard weekend. And I try and get out a lot. I try and see friends and make them help me.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Like,
That's definitely what I would do if I was
because
home
they always want to
alone
hold the
with-
baby.
Yeah, right.
So if I'm with people, they'll hold the baby or they'll help with the other kids. And I'm not doing it like, I want to see my friends, but so it's not like I'm going with my friends so they can help me. It just organically happens like
Right.
that. You know, when you're with other people, they help you. And I don't say no. I'm like, yes, please.
Yes, please.
Pick up my crying child that I can't pick up.
Yeah. It's good. We have good friends though. I mean, I think that's part of the reason that it's hard to think about leaving here is like we do have a bit of a network. You know?
It's true. And your mum can come over like for an hour at a time just to relieve a little bit of stress or so I can go to the supermarket.
She can sit with them in front of the TV.
No, that didn't happen.
I know. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Is that funny?
He thinks it's funny. Okay. My question.
Okay. So here's a question. Okay, so trying to put this into a question. So the second child gets exposed to things very differently than the first child, right? And I guess specifically,
I don't think that's inherent. Well, I guess it is because you're used to something with the first child. But yeah, what were you saying?
Well, specifically, I'm talking about, being physical, being, seeing violence, playing violent TV games, reading, comic books with violence in them. Mm-hmm. Because Oaks, we could wait till as long as we thought it was appropriate before we showed him that. And that was probably the age of 4. Mm-hmm. He was probably 4 until he really got into wanting to be physical, wanting to, being interested in guns and stuff like that.
Guns? Oh, like...
Not guns, just, shooting and killing and, if they could have one topic to talk about, it would be you're gonna die, I'm gonna die, we're all gonna die, or poop. Fart, those are the two, things.
Dying from poop.
Dying from being pooped on the face.
Or on the farts.
Or farting in someone's face and then they're going to die.
Death.
So obviously, they don't know the context of it. But sometimes, Oaks, I had a conversation about it with him, about dying. This is going off topic, but he was like, I want to die. I'm like, why do you want to die? And he's like, because I want to see what happens when you die. I'm like, but you know that you can't come back, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so you want to die, see what happens, and then come back? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so you don't really want to die? And he's like, well, I do still. I really want to see what happens. So.
I mean, also, he doesn't have any. He has no concept of death.
No, exactly.
They still can't understand the finality of everything.
Right, and so that's my point. So my question is so with Arrow, he's.
Can I have the towel?
Yeah, he's seen all this stuff before too. We've exposed him because just by sheer we kind of just...
You're talking Lego Batman and stuff, yeah. He's seen...
Lego Batman. He's watched all the Harry Potters. He plays fighting games on TV. Wait for my question.
Fighting games
don't get
from Super Nintendo.
Don't get defensive.
I'm not getting to... Dude, the fighting games
my question is... Just wait. And he is very physical.
I'm building context because you're playing it out there like these kids are throwing down in Fortnite, blowing each other's heads off.
So for me, there's no difference.
There's a massive difference between Fortnite and Super Mario Kart.
He's not playing Super Mario Kart. He's playing that.
He is playing
Super wrestling Mario games where the blood comes out of his mouth and.
What game is that?
The one where they fight, the Street Fighter one.
Street Fighter 2, the oldest side-by-side fighting game.
Okay, well, even just video games, right? Oaks and Arrow started playing video games at the same time.
Okay.
Oaks is 6 and Arrow's just turned 3.
Right.
And comics and, things like that. I'm not saying it's wrong. My question is, I guess it's probably a stupid question because your answer, it's more just a topic of...
What's your question?
Interesting conversation. Well... He's very physical and he doesn't understand. We can't put into context yet with Arrow about the physicality of hurting someone and things being final and he's hurt Oaks a couple of times and he gets kind of angry and aggressive and to him I think he just thinks it's that's how you are because that's what he's exposed to. So do you think if we didn't expose him to any of those things we tried we did with Oaks that he would be less aggressive than he is now?
Do I think he'd be less aggressive?
Yeah.
Probably. Do I think that there was a possibility of us not exposing him to that stuff? I don't. I don't think it was possible for us to expose him less than we did. Without stunting the growth of our second child, or our first child.
You think by not playing video games is stunting the growth of Oaks?
I do. I think there's a certain connectivity with technology and hand-eye coordination associated with it and a level of interest in video games that I just think is...
Is that because you enjoy playing video games? Or,
yeah.
He can get hand-eye coordination from playing sports.
He can. It's definitely a different connection, but yeah, I think...
you can play video games when he chooses to as an adult.
Right, but... It's just not. It's not the same in my opinion.
Because you had good childhood memories of it. Do you think?
I had fantastic childhood memories of it, and John G and I talked about this before. Whereas like we thought about the times playing video games as a kid, you know, where we'd play 13 hours straight and waste hundreds of hours of all this stuff, and we thought that maybe in the future we'd look back on it and regret it as time wasted. And there's literally...
You thought about that when you were playing it?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to regret this?
Yeah.
How old were you?
14, 15, 16.
Okay. So you knew what regret meant.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But
so
then
you went to 6.
No, it wasn't 6. But we played games at those times, but I'm talking about we had the thoughts then. But like, you know, those were times we could have been outside playing.
Mm.
But I have literally zero regrets about it. In fact, all I have is fond memories of it. And you know, there's gonna be... I don't think there's much of an issue there. So, as far as Arrow, I do think that he is pretty physical naturally. I also think that the building of context will come from time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he's around other kids, he doesn't punch and fight them.
No, he doesn't.
He just does it with Oaks because that's how Oaks treats him.
Right.
It's like it's a reciprocal relationship between the two.
He gets physical with other kids if
yeah,
they're
but
in the
it's
space.
not like Street Fighter.
No.
Like he's never once acted out that kind of stuff. He sees it more of a reality of like people can hit each other, you know, like it exists. But I think Oaks was also just a softer kid. Like Arrow's a harder kid. He's been a harder kid from day one.
Mm.
Plus, I think he was going to get that from me and Oaks wrestling and Oaks' level of physicality at this age and whatnot. And I think part of that's important too, is them being able to be physical and understanding that, like, yeah, if stuff goes down, it's possible for them to fight someone if they have to.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on all that stuff. I'm not worried about them being physical. I just worry about the exposure that Arrow's had versus the exposure that Oaks had. I mean, I guess that's why older, middle kids, younger kids, like, it's a thing for sure. Like, they will have different personalities based on their
siblings,
their order.
Right, of course. But I think as they grow older and older, there is going to be context built there, you know, like, and as they move through the world, it's all built in context. Like, that's what the world is like, put stuff into frames of reference, and that's what boundaries do. I think that's why boundaries are necessary, is like they start to butt heads and run at boundaries, and like, and Arrow's having a hard time with boundaries right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
but do you think he's having a hard time because he doesn't realize that those worlds are different to the real life?
No, I don't, because I don't think he's consciously being like, I saw it in a video game, this happens, let's go do this, because then it would be that would be a separation of boundaries. Like, the fact that he knows that people can hit each other and he's got no context for what's right and what's wrong in reality just yet. That's what I mean by, like, he needs parents to set boundaries. Parents and society, parents and his brother, parents and his friends, you know, like I think he'll find those things, and I don't think it's changed for the worst his psychological development. I think it might have changed his psychological development, but I think that's just the nature of life. You know, like your development changes as you grow older. I mean, like you have different experiences than your siblings did. Like you,
right.
And I really think it's quite tame compared to most.
Oh, I'm sure. It's our reality. I'm just.
Yeah, but I think you want it to be more sterile than it is. I think you want it to be.
That?
I think you want it to be a lot more tame than it currently is.
No, I don't want it to be. It's hard for me being a female and growing up, and not growing up. Well, I mean, I grew up with boys, so I know what it's like.
Right. Your brothers beat the crap out of each other.
And I despised it. I would cry when they would.
But they didn't have video games.
They did. Not lots, but they played video games.
Yeah, but again, like...
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, whoa.
Big poops.
As a female, being in a house full of male energy, it's really tough. And especially me, you know, like, I've got heightened senses, so, like, a lot of noise and a lot of stuff, it's hard for me. So, but I mostly let it go. But that's not what I'm concerned about. Like, I get that. They're boys, they're physical. It's just the exposure to things that maybe we don't need to, but we kind of just like, well, Oaks wants to watch it, or Oaks wants to do this, so, you know. And also I think you like it. You like Harry Potter's, you like
Totally.
Star Wars, you
Totally.
you want to watch things like that. Whereas I'm happy to watch Winnie the Pooh and
Right.
Octonauts, you know, but...
It's probably too much video games that caused him to poop like that. Yeah, but to answer your question, no, I don't think it's negatively impacted our son.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that
he's really hard to parent right now, and I just wonder if any of that is...
He's also 3. I mean,
yeah,
we would
it's
do
true.
The same thing with Oaks, like where he was
Oaks
just
was hard to parent at 3 as
really,
well.
yeah. And now we've got 2 other kids, so it's extra hard because there's like no focus you can give him. I remember with Oaks, you couldn't, even though we could give him, he's just puking and pooping. It's a good day.
Buddy, you okay?
I remember with Oaks, we had all the attention was on him, and all of our time was with him, and we had 10 times the energy that we do now, and it was still hard. It was just like, I think there's this wall that they hit, or psychological, not wall, but like there's no rationality behind it. It's just emotion. I think they're going through a stage of like,
no, it's hormonal.
Learning how to express emotion. Yeah, it's hormonal. It's but I don't think it's
age.
changing his psychology in a way that's for the negative.
Okay, I just thought it would be a good talking point.
Well, I think it was a good talking point. Fireside chat. High five.